everybody, and welcome back to the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Now be done by Disney, or current Lucasfilm, whichever way you slice it. Legends. Today I have for you issues 29 through 35 of the Kotor comics, the Knights of the Old Republic, and a short story going back to Lost Tribes of the Sith. I think it's Purgatory. We'll double check that. But that's what we have for you today. I think next time I'm just going to finish off the rest of the Kotor series. Maybe make War its own separate thing. And then we'll move on to other things. So, I don't want to get too much into spoilers. Rest assured, I guess what I'll say non-spoiler wise is that essentially the main plot is kind of resolved in these issues. The plot that we've kind of been following of Zane being framed for murder, the stuff going on with Lucian's covenant, and all these things, all the stuff that kind of got set up at the very beginning is kind of concluded here. There are some lingering plot threads and side stories that are going to be concluded, I imagine, by the end of this series. And then, yeah. But overall, it was really good. I really enjoyed these issues. I enjoyed the issues where we went back to Coruscant and we dealt with certain characters and stuff going on. I really enjoyed it, and I heavily think it's worth your time. It's been excellent. As for Lost Tribe, the Sith story, it is what you would read after issue 35. It has interesting... it's an interesting little story. It takes place 1,000 years after the last short story from Lost Tribe of the Sith that I talked about. It was pretty okay. I like the twist at the end. Not really a twist, but I like the revelation we find out at the end. I thought that was kind of cool. And it connected to the comic, to the comics of Kotor and everything. So I thought that was cool. And yeah, so I'm trying to be as non-spoilery as possible. That's pretty much it. I'm going to get into spoilers now. If you don't want spoilers, time for you to get out. Rest assured this is well worth your time. And if you've already got up to issue 28, or you got one of those collections like I have, it is well worth your time. But anyway, I'm going to spoil it now. If you haven't read these issues yet, or you just don't care, or you're a veteran. If you're not those things, though, get out. So, starting on issue 29, once I find it. So in this one, we see that Lucian gets promoted to the council, though the Yoda-looking one, I forget his name, and the older guy that ends up being kind of a jerk in the KOTOR games, they're not exactly sure about him being accepted. We learn more about Pharaohs, which are, I think there was a pirate guy who, Cade, kind of followed because they met him shortly after the Osis situation, that race. One of the masters is that race, and we go to that planet and we get to see more of that. Issue 30, another Jedi taken down. So the big tentacle guy, he gets taken down, and of course not by Zane's hands, it's by his own people. That's really all that happens in issue 30. I mean, there's stuff, but that's the main thing that happens in that issue. Nothing of particular note that I decided to write down. Issue 31, Alec is undercover because the Jedi are really against, right now, the Jedi that want to fight the Mandalorians, and Lucian has helped, I think Lucian helped, like, put a mandate on, like, capturing rogue Jedi like that. And so Alec goes undercover, painting his forehead with these blue lines, like we all seen in the video game, and dubbing himself Malik. The only thing missing is a Darth. So we're getting closer and closer to what that KOTOR experience of the video game would be like. Zane makes it to Coruscant. The Jedi Masters meet up with Malik, which was really cool because we got to see the Masters who are from the video games meet up with Malik before he's bad, which I thought was cool. And we get to issue 32. I don't know if this was in issue 30, but what I forgot to mention, if it was that Lucien's mother's teacher was Vodo. Vodo's the same alien guy that was the master to Exar Kun, which I just thought was really cool to mention. Lucien ordered the murder, not his mom. So that was a big lingering thing. Why is his mom doing that? Because as far as we knew, his mom was in charge. But no, it was Lucien who ordered the murder of the Padawans, not her. And she was super distraught by that. Because with him, he decided to take prophecy into his own hands and change it. He saw that, these visions happen. He's like, this is what we got to do. And then we get some things going on with Hazin, and we have basically the Jedi High Council versus the cult, the Covenant. So it's like a Jedi Civil War right there before the actual Civil War happens with Revan and Malik. Lucien, Hazin was always trouble. That's what I was like. But of course, I was wrong because there was a perception filter he was able to basically put up, so that way no one else could tell what Hazin really looked like. But I was like, Hazin looks like a scary dude, but that's for us. Everyone else didn't see him that way. We find that out later, which was really cool. And also Zamar dies, as he prophesied, by friendly fire. Issue 33. Basically, the entire issue is a Hazin flashback. I know people who are watching this part probably have seen it. I thought it was really interesting. I don't really have anything particularly of note. I feel like Hazin's pretty petty, and probably why he wasn't that good of a Sith Lord. He can call himself an in-between all he likes, but he was a Sith Lord, or at least a wannabe trying to become one. He's like, I'm not a Sith, I'm not a Jedi, I'm something greater. No. Issue 34. Zane never planned to kill everyone. It was Griff's plan. So we find this out later. The seeing Jedi lady, she thought that Zane was going to go around killing the entire Masters, because if you remember earlier on, Zane's like, I'm going to hunt you all down one by one. But then as we see every single story, he tries to, either help them or they die indirectly, not because of him. Every single time. Because that's not who Zane is. He never intended on killing any of them. That was just something that Griff said that he should tell them to have them, get off the scent, to be a little nervous. And so that's what they did. And I just really love that, because it fits with what we've seen, because I kind of forgot about that entirely, because he kept trying to save everyone, or indirectly somebody else killed him. And that was never going to be Zane's plan. He was never going to go kill the Masters, and I just really like that. Lucien's mom dies. I don't know if that happened in an earlier issue, but yeah, Lucien's mom dies. Issue 35, that might be in issue 35, I don't remember. Hazin's plan of lying about Krydna. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the political maneuvering of all of it to try to make that all work. It doesn't work out. He's no Palpatine. He gets wrecked, but he also pulled his hand way too early. But I like the idea. He just sprung it in the wrong way. I don't know. You can't pull a Palpatine. There's only one Palpatine, and he's the only one to ever successfully pull that off. And it took 15 years to accomplish the end result. So it was a slow and steady wins the race. But his whole plan was, the Jedi fights the cult, and then he says, hey, well, actually, this is the true Jedi. The Sith have infiltrated the Republic, so that way everyone would fail loyalty to him or whatever. And he gets defeated by Zane, and everything seems happily ever after as far as we know in issue 35, and the initial plot is basically resolved, and everything seems happy-go-lucky, but of course, we still have a few issues to go still. And then also Lucien at the very end, which was very, he looked very cool. It was very awesome comic panel, he, I don't have too much to dissect. It just seems like he went from, I'm going to change the future, to, we can't change the future, but we can change ourselves, which doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know, because the Force, depending on who's looking at it, there seems to be a very deterministic outlook, which I wouldn't hold to. But I don't know, maybe he's a compatibilist. Don't fight me, compatibilist friends. That's a very in-house Christian discussion. I'm not gonna get into that, but DM me sometime if you want to discuss the difference between libertarian free will and compatibilism and determinism and all that other stuff. That's big boy talk. Another time. And then lastly, before I end the video today, we have the Lost Tribe of the Sith. This time we have the 5th story, which is Purgatory, also by John Jackson Miller, because the entire book is by John Jackson Miller. As I mentioned before, it's 1,000 years after the previous story in this book. And it's been so long, no one even knows how Omen works. That Sith ship, no one knows how it works anymore, because it's all the descendants of the initial peoples. No one remembers. I like the relationship between the slave and Ori. I very much enjoyed that portion. For those who have read it, you'll know what I mean. It's, again, like I said, the story is nothing great. It's fine. But I definitely enjoyed that part. I don't know. It was something about the way it was written. I thought it was nice. And then by the very end, Jelf Marison, a Jedi Knight who was exiled. He then became a part of the Covenant from the comic book issues we read. He was on some sort of mission when everything went down in the comics, and so he went to the unknown. No, I don't know if it was the unknown regions, but he went, to parts of space unknown, where he got trapped in some, natural event and crash landed on Kesh, a planet full of Sith. And that's where he made himself a slave, integrated into society, and met up with the main character, or Ori, the main character of the short story. So I just really liked that twist. I thought it was interesting, and like how it connected to the comic. I guess it's how the initial story, because it was not gonna sit down, all that, but I don't know, I just like how it connected to the most current story that we have going on. But that is pretty much it. So far, with the Lost Tribe of the Sith, it still isn't making me think that Fate of the Jedi is any better. The Lost Tribe was the most uncompelling part of Fate of the Jedi for me, which is weird, because you would think that that's such an interesting concept, to have a lost tribe abandoned on a planet to reshape the entire culture of the entire planet, to make things different. You would think that would be really freaking interesting. It's just not to me, at least so far. There are individual stories in here that are okay, but as a whole, so far, it hasn't made Fate of the Jedi any better. Because I think about how you can make that really interesting, right? The politics of all, and it has politics, it has this stuff, it has the meritocracy and all that, but it just doesn't really fascinate me. Then you get to Darth Plagueis with, Plagueis, Insidious, and the working ins and outs. But that's just because the prequel era is so rich. Everyone who says they hate the prequels, what are you talking about? Like, yes, the expanded universe made it better, but the framework was already there. It just needed better execution. And I will fight for my dying breath that the prequels have the best story in the entire 6 films. And I only say 6 films. If you like the new 7, 8, and 9, that's great. I don't count it in my brain, but it's cool if you do. But as for the 6 films, 4, 5, and 6, pretty simple movies if you think about it. They're executed better than the prequels are, but the story is pretty simplistic. The prequels have this grand, phenomenal story to tell, at least in my opinion. It's just muddled down by certain choices. But the meat, the gist, it's all there. And so I really enjoy the prequel era. And now that I'll be going through that with every novel, every comic, everything, I'm really excited to get into that. But the reason I mention that, I'm not trying to get off track, is just simply that I feel like there's so much potential with the Lost Tribe to make that just as interesting. Or maybe not just as interesting, because there's not so much stuff going on a single planet. But to have, interesting stuff. And it's a bunch of Sith, so backstabbing left and right, and you get that. I don't know, it's just, it's not what I would like it to be. It's not compelling like I feel it should be. But for what we had in this short story, it was okay. That is about it for today. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Sharing helps out a ton. Does. Please comment. I want to know your thoughts. That would be awesome. And next time, I think we're just going to finish off the entire comic book arc. And then maybe KOTOR War, or if that's included in the next video, then move on to other things. I don't know if Knights of the Old Republic, the video game, would come next, but we'll see. I have to go look up chronology-wise and all that. But anyway, that's all for now. I'll see you next time. Bye.